This is a great question that was posed earlier this week on Dog Post. Why is Georgia getting unsatisfying, wins, Matt DeBerry? I mean, when you think about it, they've only had one game that's been within 10 points. But it's the start of these games has been a lot of visits to the dentist for sure.
Yeah, if you don't think the Auburn win was satisfying, I don't know what to tell you, because they came from behind and won a close game on the road, deep South Southern rivalry. If you're a Georgia fan last Saturday night, you got to be pretty happy.
But were
now
they though?
didn't.
But were they though?
Were the Georgia satisfied?
Happy? Satisfied? What?
No, the sky's falling, Matt. The sky's falling.
They should be happy. They're not winning by 30, 40 points, but I think at the end of the day, you have to realize this team is not as good as they were last year or 2 years ago. There's some kinks in the armor a little bit. But what we've learned about this team is that there is fight, there's grit, there's resiliency. They can play, they can push through adversity, I guess, and they have a quarterback who can make big throws, especially.
Did y'all think he would be that? Did y'all think he would be that good during pressure? Because we've seen now twice him be pretty good during pressure. Go ahead, Matt, and then Ryan, you answer that for me.
He's got the arm talent, and he's been there for 4 years now, so it's not really surprising. And he's got Brock Bowers. If anything's in doubt, throw it to 19. Good things happen. So I'm not super surprised, Ryan.
No, I think he's got composure. I mean, I don't want to beat the drum on what Kirby keeps going over and over, but he's so even-keeled. He's so cool about things, and that's kind of always how he's been. So it doesn't surprise me that he could, be kind of cold-blooded in the second half. You think about, or even in the first half, you think about that hit he took. He gets the ball out to Ra Thomas, just gets right back up. He took a really big hit. I believe this was also in the first half. He took another big hit, and for a second it looks like he's shaking, shakes it off, stands up, gets right back to it. But the third downs, man, they just throughout the entire game, and connecting with Ladd McConkey on, I think 3 of Ladd's 4 catches were third down conversions. At least 2 of them were. But Matt's right. You get it to 19. Get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. He did that when they needed him to, and he did it in the second half against South Carolina as well.
This is going off memory, but they threw it 33 times. I think they targeted Carson 14 times. That's a lot of targets. He caught it 9. I said Ladd, didn't I?
You said Ladd and Carson.
Man, if Carson Beck's out there running routes too, that would be impressive. It's illegal touching, but it would be very impressive. Yeah, I'm actually looking at a picture of Brock over here on the cover of last year's preview edition over at Dog Post. I just, this is, I just want to pause and just say, this is such a huge game for a lot of different reasons. You have gone to, I don't know if they survived South Carolina. Did they survive Auburn? Is that what y'all would call it? They won by a touchdown.
That was survival, man. You're down in the second half. It's tied. 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left. You survived a big-time upset.
Matt?
See, I think surviving is being ahead and the team coming back, and you survive and win at the end. I think they just stole that one. They played better in the second half. They've done that a lot now. If the game was played in 2 quarters, Georgia would have a lot more losses. But it's a 4-quarter game. They're really good in the second half, and they showed that. They showed they were the better of the team in the second half. I think they went out and stole it. I think one of my headlines was they ripped their hearts out, which they did. And maybe they do have to steal a game away from Tennessee or Ole Miss or Missouri, who I feel like we have to remind everyone is undefeated. But I think eventually they're going to have to hit that 40-point mark, whether it's this weekend or later in the season. Eventually, they're going to have to score more points total. That means starting the game off hot and getting points in that first quarter like we talked about recently. So we'll see if it happens this weekend, but they're going to have to hit that 40-point mark in the SEC probably sooner than later. But I think they stole that one from Auburn, but that's how I saw it.
Yeah, I wouldn't use that word. Because they had the lead in that game. I don't know about most of the fourth quarter, but a lot of the fourth quarter. And and when I think about surviving, what Florida State did at Clemson was I mean, they stole that game. They did not play better than Clemson the entire day. Clemson was the better team and lost. I would say I don't know how, but I do know how. And they missed a gimme field goal. A defensive touchdown for the Noles. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that went Florida State's way that they kind of gutted it out. Georgia was just a better team. Turned it over twice and gave up 14 points off that. I mean, it seemed to me like Auburn played about as well as they could play and lost. And, you see that a lot too. In terms of, this is a very curious question that Matt just raised, Ryan. Can Georgia hit the 40-point mark in the SEC? So far, they've not. They've only played 2 games. However, and I do not think they will score 40 on the Cats this week, but we'll just see. They have Vanderbilt coming up. They have Florida coming up. They have Tennessee's defense coming up. They have the Ole Miss Rebels, who just gave up like 100 to LSU. There are some opportunities there to score some points. I'll look up Mizzou when I let you talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, they just can't turn the ball over, or the defense has got to score. I mean, just because look, they're not getting the ball as much with this. Part of it's just the way these games have gone, but with the clock change rules, it's hurt them in terms of possessions. I think there's a couple of those games where they only had 3 or 4 first half possessions, something like that.
South Carolina, they had 3 actual possessions and a half a possession. Kind of.
So, they got to have the ball to score. And then when they do, obviously, they got to finish the drives. But that's important. They cannot turn the ball over if they want to. And they need to force turnovers. So they've yet to kind of do that. And, look, they lost the turnover battle to Auburn. Is that the only turnover battle they've lost this year?
They've lost back-to-back turnover. That's okay, Matt. I got it. I got you. They've lost back-to-back turnover margin. They've lost the turnover margin in back-to-back games for the first time since Missouri and Kent State of last year, Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to do that, and they're winning these games. So if they can't do that, or, I mean, if they do win that battle, or at least play a little cleaner, I mean, then you're talking about getting into the 40s against some of these teams. I think it'll be high 20s, low 30s this week.
You're talking about against the Cats.
For Georgia.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you're taking a look at Eco Poly's outstanding furniture, 20-year warranty. As you can see, you can pick your colors. I mean, look at these colors. Weather resistant. This honestly is one of my favorite chairs, the Lakeview deep seating chair. We were trying that out over in Eastman, or down in Eastman, I should say, in Dodge County, the heart of Georgia, where this is manufactured. They create all of it. They get a lot of their bulk stuff in on trains. I mean, it is an amazing process. The only thing they don't make are the screws. How are the dogs going to put the screws? Now, listen, real quick though, 15% off, Ryan.
Nice try.
And free shipping with the link down below. That is an awesome. I'm just going to go back to this real quick. I just want to say that is an awesome. My wife would buy that chair right now, and so I am going to change the channel as fast as possible because I know how she's going to jump in here. And but the reality is, Ryan, this Georgia team's not gotten off to a hot start yet. Now, how is that going to happen on Saturday? I mean, the crowd is going to be live, no doubt. They got to come out and execute. I mean, that's just all there is to it.
Yeah, look, I think that some of that falls on Carson's shoulders, and I think. I don't know if this is the right way to put it. Maybe I've been a little lenient on him this season, but I think he's played well. But in the first half, or more specifically the first quarter, it just hasn't got off to a hot start. Can he fire away? What's the best way to get a quarterback going? Maybe you just start with a few checkdowns or something, just something clean. I don't know what the plan is for that, but if he can start off a little bit more accurate, because he gets more accurate as the game goes, and I guess that makes sense. And look, you'd rather him be accurate in the fourth quarter than in the first if you had to choose. But I think if they can do that, they can get out and, start blowing them away a little bit.
Yeah, I like Kentucky's defenders. I think they'll give Georgia a real fight here. But Carson's got a lot of weapons. Ladd McConkey, I think, will play a little bit more. We saw him make an impact last week. Kendall Milton, I think, is going to be playing a little bit more. But in my opinion, this comes down to Georgia's front seven, especially those inside linebackers. I think Jamon Dumas-Johnson has to play better. Smal Munden needs to play like a first-round guy. He's played well this year. You want to be a first-round pick, this is a game where I think he can, get that going a little bit. Marvin Jones Jr. off the edge, where are you at, buddy? They're going to need you to contain that edge. Chaz Chambliss, contain that edge. They're going to try to get out there on the perimeter. They need great edge play. They need good inside linebacker play. We know what Nazir Stackhouse, Zion Logue, Warren Brinson can do. They've been playing well all season. It's been tough to run inside the tackles against these guys, but I think the linebackers have a real test on their hands offensively. I think the guard play has to get better. I like Kentucky's defensive line. So this could be another game in the trenches. Feels like it always is, Georgia, Kentucky. Who can win that battle in the trenches? I think Georgia should win that battle. And again, I think they're going to win the game, and that's a big reason why.
Thanks for watching.